So I thought I'd do a different kind of video today and just bring you guys along. We're just hanging out in the garage. It's going to be a nice warm day today. Going to be doing some oil changes, some springtime maintenance on the old Toyotas here. No real goal for this video. I'm just kind of hanging out. Unlike my usual videos, I don't really have a topic here. I don't have a direction that I'm heading. I'm just hanging out in the garage, and I thought you guys might like kind of a laid back, relaxing video where it's like you're one of my buddies. So on the agenda today, we got a whole bunch of oil. We're going to be doing the 4Runner, and ideally I would like to be able to rotate the tires on this thing too, just because I've been slacking on that the last few oil changes. What's up, guy? How are you now? Thanks for ruining my shot. Anyways, so the 4Runner needs just a little bit of attention. I want to get the Tacoma, I want to get its oil changed as well. If everything goes well, I would really like to get the battery in the Harley and get the oil changed in this old girl too. Get everybody out on the road, because spring is here. We've got a bunch of oil filters here for today, and if I get the chance, I always like to run Toyota filters. You know, it's not necessary, but I do prefer them. We got what we got here for the MR2, and then these two are the same for the 4Runner and the Taco. Even though one's a V6, one's a V8, they use the same filter, so here's an I told you so moment for all you V6 lovers out there. Yep, you guessed it. I gotta take the skid plate off to change the oil. I hope I don't die. That's one way to do it. Wasn't bad. Alright, while that's draining, we got a couple things that we can do here while we wait. One thing, back when I took this thing to my buddy's shop to get an exhaust leak fixed, I got him to, I don't know if you can see down there, the seal on the thermostat housing there was leaking coolant a little bit. It's a super slow leak the whole time that I've owned this thing, and it was getting gradually worse and worse, so I had him replace it. And so they bled the system and everything, but I noticed we're a little low still. As you can see, it's like way down there. We should be up here. I'm kind of hoping that they just didn't really top it up after they bled it. And regardless, I'm going to fill it up. I got a fresh jug from my buddy at Toyota, which, by the way, that's where I got my filters and everything from. You guys go ahead and do me a favor and give him a follow on Instagram. I'll put his handle down here somewhere. He's at Boosted Silica. He's a Toyota parts guy. He's been a long-time friend of mine, and I get all the Toyota stuff that I need from him. So I grabbed a where is it? A jug of coolant from him, because again, you're supposed to only run the Toyota stuff in these things. So we're going to top that up while this is draining. I think just topping it up should do the trick, because I don't really see any signs of it being wet there anymore. Of course, there's some dried on coolant there, pink stuff, but I'm going to keep an eye on it and just watch the level here. Actually, I'm going to get a video here just to remind myself of where it was, where we started out. But I'll keep an eye on that, and if it keeps on dropping down, then I'll know there's definitely still a leak somewhere. Another thing I'm going to do while the oil is draining still, I gotta replace my license plate bulbs again. This is the downside to these cheap Amazon LEDs. Yeah, they look cool. It gives like a nice white, clear license plate light, but I just replaced these like a month, maybe 2 months ago, and they're already flickering again, so I got a couple of these left. I'm gonna try sticking these ones in, see how long they last, but I think I'm gonna have to come up with another solution for those. I noticed, I think it was Cali raised LED maybe. They make like it's like an LED board, it looks like, as a replacement for the bulbs to stick in there. I might try those next. I don't know. These cheap 194 bulbs are just not really cutting it. It's kind of annoying to keep on having to swap them out. It's easy enough, but you know. Anyways, I'll swap those out quick. if I got them in the right direction on the first try. Nope. Neither of them. Oh boy. There we go. Alright, let's see how long these ones last for. I know some of you guys are going to be saying, just go back to stock ones. Well, whatever. I like the LED look. Shut up. Alright, is she done peeing yet? Let's take a look. Yeah, I think we can seal that up. Alright, now it's time to get the filter. And luckily I was the meathead that put this on there, so it's not too tight for once. Some of these oil change guys, I tell you. Maybe let that leak out a little bit. I'm down here, guys. Check out the Fox coilovers. They're holding up pretty well, I have to say. They've seen, I guess, 3 winters now. And yeah, they don't look like brand new or anything, but I'm really pleased with how they're holding up to the Canadian climate. I think a big part of that is the aluminum body. That definitely helps. Oh yeah, the wind is blowing oil in my face. Oh, come on. Alright, now it's time to fill her up. I'm just using quicker state, conventional, just 530. Honestly, for the Toyota trucks, it's whatever's on sale at the time. I don't care about running fancy synthetic. I change it often, so I'm not looking for a 10,000 mile service interval or something like that. So that's what I'm going to be putting in the 4Runner and in the Taco. The MR2 here, however, I go with Valvoline VR1 just because this engine is a lot more juiced up. This thing is making, I guess it would be like 2.5 times the original horsepower. It's a built engine and everything, so I like to go with something with a bit more of like a higher zinc content and stuff in it. So I go with the VR1 for this. This one, the oil does matter. AMS oil on the Harley, but we're not going to be doing that until the summertime. But yeah, for these Toyota trucks, I really don't overthink it. It's just make sure they're wet inside. That's all that matters. I usually just throw 6 liters even in this. It seems to always put it right about halfway up the dipstick between empty and full. And I'm good with that. Don't want to overfill it, don't want it to run low. This thing doesn't seem to really burn any oil at all, so I don't feel the need to get right up to that half or anything. Alright, fire it up, check for leaks. Now I'm going to check the dipstick in a second, but if I was a betting man, I would say it's probably going to be exactly halfway up. Yep. Alright, update time. I actually just finished up greasing the drive shaft, which is definitely, it should be part of your routine if you have one of these 4th Gen 4Runners. And I ended up making a separate video of that one just because I feel like people are going to be searching for that fix, and I want to keep that separate so they can just watch a quick little 2-minute video and figure out how to fix that little thumping problem that you get with these things. Anyways, oil change is done, drive shaft is greased up, filled up the coolant, fixed the license plate bulbs. Still have to rotate these tires, but it's right around lunchtime right now, and Mrs. Gearhead is heading home for lunch. I'm going to be able to switch vehicles over real quick. I got to be done by 5 o'clock tonight, So I want to get her oil change done, and if there's time left over, then we're going to bring the 4Runner back and rotate the tires then. Ideally, I would love to be able to still change the oil on this old heifer too. Alright, now it's time. I'm going to go pick up the Tacoma and do another quick oil change. And hopefully get all this stuff knocked out this afternoon still. I don't know, we'll see. So if you guys are liking this style video already so far, let me know in the comments, and I will pay attention. If this is kind of like the chilled out kind of content you guys are into, you can throw on in the background, and I'll see about doing some more of these. Kind of like a day in the life type of thing. Also, another thing, maybe it's just me, do you guys think that vehicles always drive nicer when you first change the oil? There's just something about it. They feel a little smoother, they feel a little stronger. I don't know. What do you think? Am I losing my mind or what? Anywho, this is probably going to end up being a pretty long video, but hopefully you guys are into it. And hopefully this is just kind of a relaxing feel. It's the kind of the vibe I'm going for, just hanging out in the garage. Holy crap, boys, it's actually Taco Tuesday. I just realized I don't think you guys have driven with me in this one yet. I actually just detailed it in here for her birthday the other day, so it's looking pretty good still. Gotta get those dents fixed though, man. It's really bugging me. Once we can get those cleaned up and the body work done, this is gonna be a nice little truck still. It drives really good still. It's got, what, 320k on it? And you'd never know it. This thing, nice and smooth, nice and quiet now. Just a good little truck. So all we got on the agenda for this one is just going to do an oil change and fix that burnt out headlight bulb. And hopefully I'll have time and I can get it back to her and get the 4Runner back and still swap the tires. We'll see. Now, I have to say I've noticed so far that I don't know, the interest in the Tacoma videos on the channel haven't been that great. I'm kind of surprised because I thought all you guys that are into 4Runners would be into Tacomas too, but so far it doesn't seem that way, but we'll see. I'm going to keep on making some Tacoma content as we restore this thing and turn it into a really nice clean example again, but time will tell. So far, I don't know, it's not looking too good. Oh guys, I'm kicking myself because on the way home I ran into my buddy that has that Datsun 280Z that I worked on a little while ago. I did a video on it, maybe I'll stick it up there or something. I'm so stupid, I had the camera right beside me and I could have got a cool shot of the car driving along the street, but I couldn't get it ready in time, and so I just yelled at him, told him not to scratch the paint, you stupid goof. I'm really hoping to be able to get that car back on the channel again in one way or another. Hopefully we'll be able to play with it some more or feature it somehow. It's definitely a cool one. Anyways, back out here. Got my coffee on deck. Yeah, the Chicago Bears still suck, whatever. I'm going down with the ship. So, it's just an oil change on the Taco this time. I'm going to get this one draining. So she was telling me when I picked this thing up today, she took this thing to one of those like quick lube kind of oil change places a couple years ago, and it was supposed to take 10 minutes and it took way longer for some reason. Really bad. Busy street today. So it ended up taking way longer, and their excuse was they told her they couldn't find the oil. Whatever that means. So pretty sure that's the oil cap there. That's the oil filter there. So aside from not being able to find the drain plug, I don't know what their problem is, but they did this for a living and they couldn't figure it out, so I guess we're going to find out if this is some kind of magical wizardry required to change the oil on a Tacoma. I don't think so. Problem. I was able to find the oil, so I'm not sure sure what the lube jockey's problem was there, but well, we got that draining. I'm going to replace this headlight bulb here. Since we got some time to kill anyways, it looks pretty straightforward. Let's dig into that. I think this filter is on pretty tight. I have to fight with that maybe a little bit. Aside from that, everything is pretty straightforward here. Alright, so it looks like swapping these headlight bulbs is not too big of a deal. I just disconnected the back. Got this kind of rubber seal. Pull this off. Pop this out. And then should just be like a little metal clip, I think, that we gotta pull out. That snaps the bulb into place. So this is just a 9003 bulb, nothing special. And Viola, we got a headlight again. Look at how yellow these things are. Ugh. I can't wait to restore these, man. That's driving me crazy. Okay, well, we're going to let this thing finish draining and swap the filter over, fill her up, and go get the 4runner back. That filter was on super tight, but luckily I had one of these little filter wrenches kicking around. I don't know what it's from, but I just found it sitting around, so it was just the right size. So we're not going to put it on quite that tight when we do it this time, but luckily we were able to get it off without too much of a fight. One other interesting thing about the 4 liters here is because the filter is sitting on top, you can see there's kind of like a catch tray around it because it's bound to leak oil. Of course, I let the oil leak out the oil pan for quite a while to get the majority of it out. I wouldn't want to do this first before draining the oil. But there's still going to be some oil coming out and making a mess. But it looks like Toyota has like there's a little spout under here. And so I think what I'm going to do is try and jam an empty oil bottle in there just to catch whatever does fall into this little reservoir and see if that helps to cut down on some of the mess. We'll find out how this goes. Alright, so I got a bottle jammed down in there. I don't know how I'm going to be able to get it back out, but it's down there now. We'll see how much that'll cut down on the mess here. Well, that wasn't bad at all. I don't think that was even needed. Okay, well, pro tip for you guys then, as long as you drain the oil pan first and let the oil run out of the crankcase a little bit before you change the oil after driving it, then you don't have to worry about all that. I don't think anything came out. Let's check that bottle and see what exactly fell out. Just as I suspected, there is nothing in there. So that's a non-issue. You don't have to worry about that. So I'm kind of learning as I go here, guys. I've never changed the oil on one of these 4-liter V6s before, but now I know for next time that this is super easy. I don't know what that guy's talking about. He can't find the oil. What are you doing? Alright, we got the new filter here. Gave a little schmutz on the seal from the old oil. The old spinorama. I'm not going to put it on as tight as the last one. I think that's good. So again, we got the same Toyota filter that we put on the 4Runner. I think it's a D3. Check it. Yep. Feels good. Okay, let's just fill her up with oil. Call this one done. So I'm just going to throw one of these 5-liter jugs into the Tacoma. Same oil as the 4Runner, 530, conventional stuff. Based on the reading that I've done on the forums, it sounds like the dipstick on these things is kind of untrustworthy. Maybe that's what the dude was talking about, how he couldn't find the oil. Maybe he was having trouble finding a reading on the dipstick, but based on a little bit of reading, it sounds like most Tacoma owners are just throwing 5 liters in and calling it good enough. I'm not real concerned with getting it super full right up to the tippy top. We just want it to be in the safe zone between the E and the F on the dipstick, and this should be good. Alright, should be good. Fire it up, check for leaks. I'm gonna, I guess, attempt to check the dipstick and see where it's at. I'll be interested to see what kind of reading we do get on it, if it's anywhere remotely accurate or if it just looks like it's useless. Let's find out. I tell you guys, I know they're strong, reliable engines and everything. And these V6 Toyotas are awesome, but there's just nothing like the sound of the V8, I'm telling you. If you haven't already watched my video where I ranted and raved about how the V8 is better than the V6, don't get me wrong, I love the Taco, but the sound is just not there, guys. So just check the dipstick, and I don't know, maybe everybody's crazy because it's just shy of the F mark. And obviously all the oil hasn't settled in the pan after just running it too, so if anything, this is quite full. And that's okay, because just in fiddling around with this thing underneath, I did notice that it does have a few, I wouldn't call them oil leaks, but it does have some seeping seals here and there on the oil pan and around the valve cover, you can see. So it is going to lose oil over time a bit, so I'm not too concerned with it being too full. Well, it's definitely not too full, but it's probably a good idea to put a whole bunch in it just to make sure that it lasts for the whole oil change interval. Also, fun fact, big brain guy here. Again, another super windy day here in Canada, but normally dumping this pan into one of those jugs, it's like a two-man job because it's going to pour everywhere. And with the breeze today, I knew for sure it was going to be bad, so I actually used my pump that I use for doing like gear oil changes. I'm just basically siphoning it out of there and into the jugs. So feeling pretty smart right now. That doesn't happen very often. Alright, so we moved on to the MR2. We've got a drain in here. This one is obviously a little more of a pain to get underneath compared to the trucks, but I can just kind of lay down behind it and reach over. Now, there's two pains with this one when it comes to changing the oil. First thing is the location of the oil filter, which is, I don't know if you can see, it's right there. So it's not that it's hard to get at or anything. That's not the hard part here. It's the fact that it's right beside the downpipe and the header, the turbo. It gets super hot there. So no matter how loose you put that filter on, it always bakes on, and it's an absolute pain to try and get off. So we'll see how much that fights us today. The other pain with doing an oil change on this thing is my own fault. It's this gritty oil cap. These, I don't know if it's stainless steel or whatever, they look cool. Don't get me wrong, they're cool looking. And again, they're really hard to get off. This one, yeah, okay, we're good. They look cool, but I mean, that's going to chew up the inside of your hands when it's on even remotely tight. I always end up leaving it on fairly loose, knowing that it's going to be a problem to get it off. With the amount of heat that this engine puts out back here, you don't really have to worry about things coming loose too often. Everything gets kind of fused together. So, that's good. We got this sorted out. This will help it drain a little. Crack that open. And we'll see what kind of a fight we're in for with that filter. Okay, situation report. That filter is not coming off. Not in a million years. And I remembered how I normally deal with this. Basically, you got to get the engine hot on this thing in order to get everything to expand to free that filter up. And when it's cold, this thing hasn't run for 6 months. It's been sitting in the wintertime. When it's cold, it is not going to budge. It doesn't matter what you put on it. The good news is with the amount of mileage that I put on this car, a lot of times I'll just do the filter every other oil change just because I don't really drive it that much. I'm more concerned with keeping fresh oil in it, but the filter itself can definitely handle 2 intervals if it has to. And I've done that a lot in the past, actually. In this case, the problem is that it's been sitting all winter, and I wanted to drain the oil out of it before I even crank it over for the first time, just for safety. Any condensation that's built up in there, I like to just drop it straight out of the pan without having anything up into the engine at all. And that's a great idea, except for the fact that if you want to change that filter, you have to get it up to operating temperature. So that's kind of the situation that we got with the MR2 right now. I'm going to let it drain some more and brainstorm a little bit, but I have a feeling I'm just going to end up leaving the filter on for this time. For now, I guess I may as well put the battery in this thing and get it ready to fire up. Because seeing Dorian and his Datsun today kind of got me thinking, it's getting to be about that time that spring is here. I want to be driving this thing. So I'm going to throw the battery in this, maybe even throw the battery in the Harley out there too. We'll see. I don't think I'm going to be able to get to rotating the tires in the 4Runner today because she's got it now. She's busy with work. I got to be done here soon, so might have to stretch that one into another day. But for the most part, we're getting everything else done here. Alright, this part's always fun. Oh, my old man back. Alright, got the battery back in. I have this strange feeling that it's dead. I don't know. I'm gonna have to put this thing on the charger for a while. Got any lights in here? Oh, we got lights. Oh, normally it sparks pretty good when I hook it up, but we'll see. So next up we gotta tighten up the drain plug and we'll fill it up with oil. Figure out what we're gonna do about that filter. I'm just going to put 4 of these in, and then once I fire it up I'll double check the levels. This car you can't really go by the owner's manual just because it does have some modifications to the oil system with the different lines for the bigger turbo and stuff, you know, so capacity wise is not quite accurate. So I like to go by the dipstick on this one. I ran out of time yesterday, but I was able to, last night I popped out here for another 30 minutes or so. I got this thing up, fired up and running, and got up to operating temperature, and I was able to crack that oil filter loose. So what I ended up doing was just cracking it loose just enough so that when it cooled down I'd be able to loosen it up the rest of the way. And then today I just, once most of the oil had dropped back down out of the filter, I was able to pull the old one off, stick the new one on. Definitely not the most ideal situation, but I was able to start it up with fresh oil in it and then just swap out the filter afterwards. Regardless, it's got fresh oil in it and a brand new filter, so we got there. So that means this one's pretty much ready to be out on the streets again. This one's ready for the springtime. I'm just going to pump the tires up, check the pressures, make sure they're good to go, but it fired right up, no problem. It's got fresh oil in it, and battery's good to go. So this one's basically done. As for this one, today I just want to rotate the tires on it. Again, because I've been slacking on it the last few oil changes, and no excuses this time. So I'll do that, and ideally I'd love to be able to get the battery in the Harley and get that thing fired up too, and then everything's ready for the springtime. That'd be awesome. So with these aftermarket lug nuts that have the splines on them, you want to make sure that you don't use your impact gun on them to break them loose, just because the violence of the impact gun likes to strip the splines and it wears them out a lot quicker. So I'm using a breaker bar on these ones. Just a habit that I've always gotten into. Another little fun tip, little painter's tape on the edge of the key, just so you don't scratch up the rim. So now if you want to buzz them off the rest of the way with an impact gun to save time, that's totally fine, but now that they're loosened off, it won't wear out your lug nuts. Alright, we got the tires all rotated here. Now it's just time to check my fancy TPMS system, which is right here. If you haven't seen my other video, I disabled it on this thing, and I have never looked back since. So I'm going to check the tire pressures, make sure that's good. Actually, I'm going to check the bike too. And what the heck, may as well check the tires on this thing. Let's have a tire checking party. Alright, so the last thing I still want to do is get the battery in the Harley, which should be the easy thing as of today. Now I'm not totally sure if it's going to start or not because the battery died last year. Normally I would drain the carb and just let it run out of fuel so it doesn't sit in there and gel for the winter time. And I couldn't get one more final start out of the battery that I had last year, so didn't get a chance to drain the carb, so we'll see if this thing's going to be having a hard time starting over now in the springtime or not. Well, that ended up being the wrong battery for the bike, so I'm going to have to end up spending some time jerry-rigging the connections a little bit. I think I can make it work, but I'm all out of time for today, and this video is probably getting long enough already as it is, so. Anyways, I think I'm going to cut it right here. I'm going to end the video. That's pretty much all we've got. Got lots done. Thanks for hanging out in the garage with me today, and I guess yesterday. And now I'll catch you guys in the next video. See you.